Americans are durable. We take pride in hard work and high quality. American Giant makes durable quality clothing right here in the USA because what we wear reflects who we are. When you buy American Giant, you're not just wearing the best clothes money can buy. You're helping keep jobs and pride in your own backyard. Premium clothing built to last decades, like it should. Get 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with code RightHere24.
Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Millennial Management Podcast. I am your host, Brandi, the Millennial Manager. Make sure that you are following me on social media at Brandi, the Millennial Manager on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And also, if you are wanting to be a part of the paid Patreon community, make sure you join where you will receive the weekly lives. Also, the Motivation Monday episodes are moved there, as well as a bonus episode for the email episode, okay? All right, so now going to our first email, it says, I came in on a temp hire position. I have only missed one day. I'm on time every day. I work hard. I get along with everyone. I was supposed to go permanent 3 weeks ago. It still hasn't happened. When I asked my manager about it, he told me he didn't know what position he wanted to put me in. They have also hired my supervisor's wife, and they pitch it to me like she is there to help, and after she'll be moving up front. I don't know if he's waiting around to get someone else, but I can't help but feel like that's what it is. How should I move forward? I have already started applying for other jobs. Betty, you are exactly right. He is waiting until the next best thing walks in because he hasn't committed to you 100% for the position, okay? That's why he brought his wife in, because it's just somebody else that he can have in a role, and then he's going to move you somewhere else. I'm not sure if this is his wife or if this is another boss's wife, but that just seems kind of messy anyway. Because if this is your partner, you probably should not be their supervisor. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of weird. So going forward, I think you are 100% correct that they don't necessarily want you for the role. You're just a placeholder until they find the ideal candidate. So you need to make sure that you have your options open when it comes to your resume, applying for jobs. Okay, so keep applying. Do not stop. And if you get an opportunity that is more money, do not let them talk you into staying. Okay, because if he wanted you for a position, he would have gave you the position. There's no need to wait around for 3 weeks to see. What are you saying? If you've already promised me a role, if you already promised me a position, then let's make good on that. If he has not, then it's time for you to move forward. All right, so our next email, it says, I feel like I'm losing control. I've been with my company for 8 years. The job itself is not bad. It's been management and the lack of support. I've been able to let things roll off my back since dealing with menopause. I've been struggling on how to deal with the smallest issues that arise. I feel lost. Get on some medication. Okay? When we go through menopause, y'all, we are going through a chemical imbalance. And when you have a situation like that, you need to talk to your doctor, because there is no type of calming down that you can do because your hormones are out of whack. So talk to your therapist to help you work through, maybe come up with some exercises, but your hormones are out of whack. And so you need to go see a provider. You need to go see a doctor. Talk to them, let them run tests. They can check your estrogen levels. They can do so many things to help you be regulatory. Okay. So if you are having situations like that where little things are starting to get to you, things that normally, are not terrible. And I know that management not being supportive is going to be an issue, but it's an even bigger issue that you have menopause knocking on the door. So every problem that you have with the workplace or in the workplace is going to be amplified. So you need to go and see a doctor. You need to talk to a therapist. so they can help you regulate that, because it's not a good feeling when you feel like you're on pins and needles all the time. And somebody had commented under one of my videos when I was commenting and saying, like, you need to go sit on somebody's couch. There's nothing wrong with it. They make pills for this. You can get the help that you need, but definitely discuss that with a doctor. All right, so our next email, it says, "Good day. I hope all is well. I'm writing to inquire if you should give notice when you want to resign, although you are not given notice when you are terminated. Thank you so much for your understanding." I do think that if you have a good working environment, a great relationship with your boss, you should absolutely give your company the 2 weeks notice or whatever. Like if you're in management, sometimes it's 30 days. If you're a doctor or a provider of care, sometimes it could be 90 days. It just kind of depends on what your contract is with your employer. But if there is no contract, there is no policy, then I would say that the 2 week notice is fine. However, okay, on the flip side of this, if you have a job and your managers are not organized, it's a lot of chaos, you feel like there may be some retaliation where they may try to let you go before you can secure this other role, or maybe you want to make sure that there's not a break in your pay period, then I would not give notice at all. I would go to work every single day like there's nothing happening until it is time for me to turn my notice in. I swear to God, I have actually done this before because a company was playing around with my bonus. The bonus was probably like $800-900, and it was back to school time. I told this story a while back, but the doctor that I worked for, he was a maniac. He was absolutely crazy. And I knew because he had done it before. He had fired people when they turned in their notice. And you don't get your bonus if you're terminated. So I was like, I've seen how you treated these other people, and you're not going to get the chance to treat me like that. So what I'm going to do is write this out. Okay? I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm not going to even act like there's a problem. I'm going to act as normal as possible. And at the end of the day, I went back there, asked for my check. He gave it to me, and I cashed it immediately because I knew that the next day I was not coming to work. I was going to be starting my new job. So I'm telling you now, if there is going to be an issue with your money, you know from history that this company does not do right by its employees, whether they give them notice or not. Make the bet with yourself, or not make a bet on yourself, but I would make a promise to myself to not let them do that to me. Okay? You've seen what they can do. You know what they can do. You've already seen that movie. Okay? Let's not make it a reality. They've already done this to some other employees. You know that it's not a good place to work, and you're not going to miss it. You're okay with having that gap on your resume, or maybe saying that this was a contract role or whatever. But I would not give notice if this is a toxic work environment and you know that there's going to be a situation if you were to turn in your resignation. So that's my honest to God opinion about that. Now on to our next email. It says, "I hope this email finds you well." It did. Thank you very much. "I have started a new job. While working at this job, my supervisor has been very vocal about me being the only person on our staff that knows what they're doing. She goes on and says this in front of the stakeholders, and she has said this in meetings with the extended team. I often cringe when she says that I'm the only person on the team who has experience and knows what they're doing. She has even gone as far as to say, you're the expert on the team. You, my dear friend, are about to go from pet to threat. Do you hear me? You're doing so well. She's basically pitting you up against your fellow coworkers, and eventually you're going to get so good that you're better than her. And you know what's going to happen? She's going to start attacking your work. She's going to start criticizing your work. All of a sudden, you can't do anything right. I don't know exactly how long that you have been at this job, but I guarantee you it's less than a year. Probably less than 6 months. When you see that type of pattern happening, you either need to direct her in conversation. No, I think my coworkers are awesome. I think Bobby is this. Oh, Bobby helped me do this. Lifting those people up, because what she is doing is creating a obstacle between you and your coworkers, right? She's creating this strife between you all because they're going to get sick of it because they have been through it too. So I'm going to tell you, this is probably not going to be a long-term destination for you. I would keep in mind that time is going to run out, because once you hit a certain mark or you start to get really good at your job and you start to excel further than she thought you would, and then maybe you're into her territory, that's going to put a threat or that's going to put a mark on your back, a target. And you're going to start going from pet to where she loves everything about you to threat. Now you are interfering with her role. Now you are starting to be better than her at her job, or you're performing well past what she wants. So just keep that in mind, baby. You're not going to be at this location for long. So our next one, it says, "Hello, Brandi." Well, hello there. I hope all is well. It is. I do have a question. What do you do when you ask for a raise and management comes back to you and states that it is not in their budget to give any raises at this time? What should my response be? Do I start making an exit plan? Please advise. Thank you. I would say that no, I would not just start making an exit plan, because that could very well be the truth. But what I will ask is, depending on how long that you have been to this or at this company, because you don't state how long you've worked there. So if it's less than a year, they're probably not going to give you a raise. If you're over that year, you have done amazing at your job. I would ask, is there like a percentage increase of raises that you all give at a certain anniversary date? I would ask that, because that's going to be very important. If you have, if you're going to be close to your 1 year, that's more than likely when a raise is going to be given. Instead of just asking for them to give you one, I would ask that question. When do you all give raises? Is it at the anniversary date? Is it based off of work that you're doing? When are those raises given? Now, depending on the work environment, I would say that if it's a negative one and you feel like there's not really a whole lot of growth there, or maybe you feel like management is kind of pulling your leg when it comes to this budget that they're discussing, I would start to make an exit plan. You have been meeting your metrics, you have been meeting your goals with the company, and they have not offered any type of pay increase based on the year or years that you have been with the company, then I would absolutely leave. I would start making an exit plan so that you can, number one, gain more experience, or receive the pay and salary that you are looking for. So, yes. All right. So our next email, it says, "Brandi, first off, I just wanted to tell you thank you for your post." Well, my pleasure. It says the messages are immediately connecting with me and helping me helping give me the support I need to jump. It has been a challenging time at 42 trying to figure out or how to get out of my PTSD choice of careers and trying to figure out what to do next. Secondly, I have some questions that I am sure others may have as well. If you have multiple careers, should you separate your resume or a combined resume when looking to showcase your experience to change your industry or your career? So her second question says, when an application asks what salary or compensation you are looking for, what numbers should you aim for as to prevent from being lowballed in a potential offer? Okay, so number one, the first question, it says if you have multiple careers, should you have separate resumes or a combined resume? First off, if it's anything beyond 10 years, I would not put it on your resume. Okay? Do not list anything beyond 10 years on your resume. And the reason why is because so much has changed. A lot of technology has evolved. And unless you have been at that company for longer than 10 years, I would not even list it because it's not going to be, necessary for the role. So anything that's beyond that 10, let's go ahead and cut that down. Okay? That's trimming the fat. Because I know you want to show yourself as being, I worked in a bank, I'm a teller. Maybe you have worked in insurance and you want to kind of show the connection of the experience, but it's not really necessary because those two fields do not relate. So I would say cut off anything that is beyond 10 years. Also, make sure that you are putting things on the resume that relate and that are also connected to the role that you're applying for. So if you were in two previous industries that are similar to each other and then also connected to that role that you're getting ready to apply for, then that's perfect. That's wonderful. So if you were previously a customer service agent and maybe you are now applying for a customer service management role, or maybe even going into human resources, I would list customer service as a job that you had previously, as long as it's within those 10 years. Okay. Now, as far as you having different resumes for the separate career fields that you're applying to, I definitely would. And the reason is because those jobs are applicable to the job that you're applying for. I wouldn't go in with my resume being a dental assistant, for example, to apply for a customer service agent role. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you want to change careers, maybe that career ended at a certain time, I would try to include jobs that are directly related to the role that you're applying for. When the application asks what salary or compensation you are looking for, what number should you aim for as to prevent being lowball, I would always go 10,000 plus more than my current salary. So if you are a manager in customer service and you're making $50,000 on your salary or in your salary, then I would always, first of all, pad that a little bit so that you can actually feel the increase. So I would not say that I make $50,000. I would say I make $60,000 as my salary, and then this is what I'm looking for, which is going to be $70,000. So when you do that, you can actually see an increase in pay. If the company has the budget there, I will also look, to make sure that you're not over requesting. I would look to see what they have paid people in previous that were previously enrolled or employed there, and also the current employees. So on Glassdoor, they'll tell you what roles are paying in your area. You just need to have the due diligence to look it up. So if you are a manager, you want to see what managers in this specific career field are getting paid in your area. Glassdoor will tell you. Google will even tell you if you ask it. And so making sure that you know what the ranges are as far as salary is concerned when you're looking up these companies is key when you're filling out your application. So always make sure that you are informed of that. Okay, so our next email, it says, "Hi, Brandi. I have a question for you. I was working in a hospital in Wheeling, West Virginia, and I was called into the office because this coworker came back to my section and was talking about a resident that she felt was a lesbian. I didn't say anything to her. I was just listening. But there was another coworker that was standing there that is a lesbian, so she didn't want to work with us that day. So she went to higher management to report what was said. I was called into the office and was asked about the situation. I told them that the other coworker was talking about it, and I never said a word. But since I was standing there, I was involved. They told me that I was going to be let go that day. Dang. And I was devastated because the coworker came back to my section where I was working, number one, and I didn't say a word to the coworker that was talking, but I lost my job. They didn't want to hear anything I had to say. I felt like it was a setup. I had 268 hours of PTO. That equals $6,800. They told me they did not pay me that, and I worked for that. Also, I had a sign-on bonus that I worked for the first full year for $3,333.33. And then I received another bonus for that same amount. Now they want me to pay it back in full. Oh my goodness. If not, I will be turned over to a collection agency. I'm sorry, y'all, that's my son in the background. I worked for my PTO and they took it from me, did not pay me my full bonus, or didn't. Now they want me to pay my full bonus. I feel like I should be even. I just feel so confused. I don't know what to do. Do you have any suggestions? Baby, number one, I just want to make clear, I am not, legal counsel, but I do recommend that you consult an employment attorney. An employment attorney can assess your situation, review your contract. If you have the policy book, I don't know if you still have access to that, but you need to take the policy book with you so that they can advise you on what your rights are and what your options look like. They'll help you understand whether or not it was grounds for wrongful termination. I do think that this was an extreme response because I don't know what their protocol is when there are situations that happen like this, but this does seem like very extreme. I will say that your coworker should have been terminated, or maybe I wouldn't even say terminated, to be honest. I would say that maybe they deserve to be talked to depending on what was said. Now, if she said something that was derogatory about that woman because she was a lesbian, then absolutely she deserved to be terminated. But you did not if you had nothing to say and you didn't engage. This is where, having friends or being around people in the workplace is so dangerous because you didn't even comment on what the lady was saying. And I'm not saying she's your friend, but just from being in proximity to someone has cost you your career. Just from being in proximity. I would say, looking over your contract, looking over any of the policies regarding termination, PTO payout, any bonus agreements. I do know sometimes that if you are given a bonus and you quit or you are terminated within the year of that yearly bonus pay, in some companies, they will require you to pay it back because you have, violated the terms, whether it was you were fired. Even if you weren't the one that initiated the termination, they terminated you. So you have to kind of deal with the outcome of that. I think the employment attorney is going to be your best course of action because they're going to let you know, like I've already said, that if you have grounds for wrongful termination, they're going to review the situation. They are going to be the ones that can kind of guide you through this. I will say also, if your company has some type of arbitration clause inside of your policy handbook, like in the employee handbook, where it states that neither of you can sue each other, but you all can move forward with arbitration, ask your attorney about that. I'm not sure if you have access to that employee handbook or if you know somebody that can get it for you, but you need it because that is going to be necessary in you being successful or even finding out if you really have a clause there or if you have cause. Right, and this one says, today is the first time that I have seen any of your videos and I couldn't stop watching. I absolutely love your content. I have a situation and just wanted to see where your opinion is on this. Okay, let's get going. I have worked for a different state agency for the past 11 years. I have been with the same one for the last 5. I was diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome in July, which I fully attribute to having a non-ergonomic workstation. I had surgery in September on my left arm and on November 1st, surgery on the right. While recovering, I requested an accommodation to work from home, which was approved. While I am absent out of the office, 2 other workers who are not as experienced as I am have had to adjust their schedule some. My supervisor sent an email telling me they have a lot on their plates and is giving me extra work to help help the office workers. I feel as though this is harassment and not accommodating at all. Considering she wanted me to call clients, nobody ever uses their personal phone while teleworking, and I am teleworking due to surgery on my arm. Do you think I should report this? I have been harassed by this agency for years. Should I save the trouble and move on gracefully? Just curious of your opinion. So I don't know that this lady is really harassing you, but I do think she's being unreasonable with the request. And let me tell you why. Because if you had a procedure on your arm, clearly you are not able to move and flex your arm like you normally would. So she's asking you to do something that doesn't necessarily make sense. Also, she's asking you to make personal or use your personal phone to make calls to clients. And that is just inappropriate. I think the people who are working with or working in the office, they should be able to make those phone calls, and maybe you can adjust and do other things to support them while you're out, because technically you are working remote. So you should still have work that you're required to do. But this particular piece of the work is probably not going to work for you. Okay, because you just had surgery on your arm. Like, that doesn't make sense. Now, I will say, instead of you reporting it, I would get an accommodation request from my doctor that states that I cannot pick up and down my phone. Like, it causes me a lot of pain to do that. And they're going to see if they can make an accommodation for you. If your company can provide you with a headset, with a phone, with all of those things to make it easier for you because you did have surgery on your arm, then I think it's a no-brainer that you should take it, because they're going to make the accommodation. However, if you're not going to be home that long, or as far as like working remote because of this procedure, then I would suspect they're not going to go that route. They're just going to honor what your doctor is requesting and then go from there. Your boss is probably going to be upset because you decided to not engage. You went and got an accommodation, and so she's probably going to pile on work in a different way. Just be ready. Because it seems like this is like tension between you and her, because you went straight to harassment. So clearly y'all got an issue. I don't know if what it was, because you didn't really list, like, there have been other situations where she has harassed you or required you to do something different than what she requires other employees, which could be seen as favoritism on their behalf. So I think that, number one, you need to seek out the additional accommodation via your doctor. So call your surgeon and tell them that you have been having this pain because you've been picking up and down your phone, and you were wondering if they can give you some type of accommodation to help with that, because you are not, you're struggling to complete tasks because this is impossible. This isn't something that you can do while you're out. So once you get back into the office, it's something totally different, because you'll be healed, you'll be able to work. And then also, as far as the workstation where you don't have the proper accommodations to stop you from feeling the carpal tunnel or maybe becoming more severe, that's where you need to discuss with your HR department if they can get maybe the pads to sit under the keyboard, where it kind of gives you that extra support when you're typing. Also, the type of chairs that you use, they need to have the arms so that you can have something to rest on. And it also needs to be something that is supporting your back. So I would talk to your doctor so that you can go that route once you get back to work. Otherwise, your carpal tunnel is just going to persist, and that could lead to like numbness in your fingers and all that stuff. I've had to deal with that early on in working. Like, I was numb in my pinky and in my thumb, I believe. I felt that numbness in those two fingers. And that's what made me, realize, oh, I need to start using this. And thankfully, my HR department was accommodating to that and made sure that everyone had those little bands so that you can sit your wrists on top. So I would definitely go that route. Talk to your provider, your medical provider, your surgeon, and see what they can do to help you so that you don't face this type of issue again inside of the workplace. But beware that your manager is probably going to pile on work in a different way because she can't do the phone. So she's going to come at you at a different angle. But I would like to hear an update from this. All right, y'all. So today's episode was awesome. I want to thank everyone for their emails today. Please remember to follow on Patreon at Brandi, the Millennial Manager. And then also, if you want to join the community, it is going to be $6. Now, the remaining portion of our interview series is going to be up this week. And I just want to say real quick, no matter how this election went, okay, it's going to be okay. We're going to be all right. All right. No matter what. So I just want to send y'all a little love and encouragement. Congratulations to the other side. And let's keep it moving. Okay. All right. So y'all make sure that you send your emails if you have a question, if you have something that you want to be addressed on the podcast, make sure you send it to themealmanagementpod@gmail.com. And also, if you want something that is not necessarily you don't want it on the podcast, but maybe you're okay with scheduling a consult, we can meet face-to-face on Google Meet. You can schedule a consult with me by visiting my website that is in my link on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Okay? Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all on social media. Bye-bye.